The notice came like a cruel joke. A thin slip of paper taped crookedly to my front door, the HOA logo stamped at the top in harsh black ink. Halloween decorations are prohibited. Remove pumpkins immediately or face fines. I froze in the doorway, the paper trembling in my hand. Behind me, the warm glow of orange light flickered across my living room walls. The carved pumpkins on my porch grinned into the night, their jagged smiles glowing with candlelight. To me, they weren't clutter. They weren't disorder. They were tradition. They were joy. They were a reminder of childhood magic, of nights running through leaf-strewn streets in costumes, of sticky fingers gripping candy bags too heavy to carry, of my father carefully carving faces into pumpkins while I watched in awe. And now Karen, the HOA president, wanted it gone. She wanted darkness where there should be light. What she didn't realize was that her demand would spark something far greater than control. It would spark a protest she could never hope to contain. Neighbors whispered in disbelief when word spread. "Illegal pumpkins? Seriously?" She's lost her mind this time. "It's Halloween. What's next? Christmas lights? Birthday balloons?" Families who had kept quiet under Karen's reign of intimidation suddenly stirred with outrage. Children tugged at their parents' sleeves, begging them not to take the jack-o'-lanterns away. Mothers shook their heads, fathers clenched their fists, and teens rolled their eyes in disgust. Everyone saw the hypocrisy. Karen's friends, her chosen few, had their yards littered with year-round decorations. Wind chimes, oversized planters, garden statues. No fines, no violations. But my pumpkins? Suddenly they were illegal. This time, Karen had chosen the wrong fight. Karen thrived on control. She strutted through the neighborhood like a monarch inspecting her kingdom, clipboard in one hand, pen in the other. She fined families for doormats that clashed with community standards. She punished kids for chalk drawings on sidewalks. She barked at teenagers for leaving basketball hoops in driveways. And every time, she smirked as if the neighborhood was her personal empire. But arrogance blinds, and this time, Karen had declared war on Halloween itself. For me, those pumpkins weren't just decorations. They were memories carved into flesh and fire. Each crooked smile held my children's laughter. Each glowing eye reflected years of tradition. Taking them down wouldn't just strip my porch of light. It would strip my family of joy. And I wasn't about to let Karen win. The board meeting was a battlefield. The air buzzed with whispers, the scrape of chairs, the faint hum of cameras recording. Neighbors crammed into the hall, leaning forward, waiting for the inevitable clash. Karen sat at the head of the table, lips twisted into a smug grin. She loved the spotlight. She thrived on the fear that her presence carried. She jabbed her finger at me, her voice sharp. "Remove the pumpkins or pay fines. Those are the rules." Gasps rippled through the room. Slowly, I stood, my voice cut through the silence, steady and deliberate. "If pumpkins are illegal," I said, lifting my chin, "then joy is illegal, and we won't allow that." The crowd erupted. Applause thundered, phones shot up, neighbors cheered. Karen's smirk faltered, her eyes darting nervously as the tide turned against her. That night, the protest began. At first, it was just a few families, small clusters of pumpkins glowing on porches, soft flickers of defiance against the dark. Then, more appeared. Pumpkins on driveways, pumpkins on sidewalks, pumpkins glowing in windows, dozens turned to hundreds. By midnight, the entire street was alive with orange light, a sea of carved faces stretching as far as the eye could see. Children danced in the glow, neighbors laughed, families toasted warm cider on porches. The street didn't look like a violation. It looked like unity. Karen stormed down the block, her clipboard clutched like a weapon. She barked threats, scribbled notes, pointed at every porch with fury. But for the first time, her voice held no power, because she couldn't fine us all. Her clipboard was useless against the glow of hundreds of jack-o'-lanterns. By morning, shack or pumpkin protest was trending online. Photos of the glowing street flooded social media, picked up by news outlets nationwide. Anchors called it the town that fought for Halloween. Commentators mocked Karen's pettiness, while parents across the country praised the defiance. Neighbors who had once cowered now stood tall. Even nearby communities lit pumpkins in solidarity. Karen had tried to erase tradition, and instead, she had created a movement. Her authority crumbled beneath the weight of laughter and light. That night I stood among the pumpkins, my children at my side. Their eyes glowed with pride as the street shimmered in orange fire. A reporter asked me how it felt to defy the HOA. I looked around at the glowing faces, neighbors smiling, kids running, candles flickering. They tried to ban tradition, I said softly. Instead, they lit a protest. The pumpkins grinned back at me, defiant and eternal. They said my Halloween pumpkins were illegal, but I turned it into a protest. And if you believe in standing up for joy, for light, for tradition, then share this story. Subscribe. Be part of the movement. Together, we'll keep the lights glowing, even where arrogance tries to dim them.